Okay, so some people are asking me to do a tutorial, and there's a few issues with my PC being so old to do things. And while the PC itself can do all this stuff, right? When I start adding multiple applications that are recording things and doing things, etc., and it's why you probably will never see me do a live stream with this PC. It's just not powerful enough to handle stuff. It's only got a dual core. That right there is a huge limitation that I tried using there's a way that the Unreal Engine when it does stuff, like see that little car that's right in front of you, okay? There are these things called texture shaders, and they compile when you go to do things from a pack that someone's designed, okay? And they take a lot of time out of your brain cells, and they take up threads. Each core has two threads. The engine will require one thread, so then you have three left, and that's the minimum that you can do with the engine. Okay, at this point, and most times you want to have at least a quad core. Like they gave out the minimum specs that they use at their company, and it was a quad core with 64 gigabytes of RAM and a 970 GTX or something like that. Well, guess what, guys? I'm using a dual core with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 gigabyte graphics card, or 1 gigabyte graphics card and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, so I'm a fourth of the memory and way off in graphics. Okay, and that also loses me some features that I could be showing neater things that I have a feeling that I would like to be able to show off and do things with, right? And I'd be doing a heck of a lot more stuff, right? Now, I can show a few things just doing this kind of a display capture thing, and just to show you how I set that scene up that you guys have just seen with the Stargate thing. It's going to require a little bit of back and forth here, right? Um, you're going to get to see my desktop for a minute, which is just a mess too. But anyway, you know. So you go up to your library, okay? And I haven't installed that thing yet because it makes me nervous to use anything that up until now has been Windows 10 only, and I just don't want to wreck my PC doing it. So you would launch the this thing here, and it would ask you to create, okay, a project. Okay, now I've created a project down here, and then this particular one is this one here. Right, project 12 down in here. So up comes the project, and these are all the little packs that I put in here to do stuff with. And you can tell that I've got some heavy duty things set up in here for mucking around. And yeah, now, so when you want to import or add a thing into this thing, right? We'll go back to here again, right? You scroll down into your bolt, okay, and you see this word where it says add project, right? Well, part of the thing is whenever I see these, what I'm doing a lot of the time is I want to show you guys not just that Epic is giving out something for free. I actually put it in the engine and then use it a little bit. I'm not all the time doing it, but I have uses for these things. I made a little mini game with, see this little beach project here. I made a game out of that. That I put the build program in there. So you're sitting on a beach, right, during a pandemic, and you can build your own little hut, like you know. I started playing with monsters and animating monsters in this one. I got talking to the guy that with this one here about first-person adventures. So I've learned a lot of neat things along the way, right? And see, this one here was its own project, that car one, right? Um, but what you do, okay, is you would go down to the vault, like over here for the marketplace. You click on the marketplace, and it'll come up here in a minute. And you click on this area right here, free, and you go to free for the month, and up comes these packs, right? How come there's only 4 there? Oh, they took the desert. What did they take out of here? They took the one I have. I'm showing you guys. They've taken it out. That's weird, eh? I wonder why. That's bizarre. So you can't get that one anymore. Huh. Anyway, it would normally be in here. Okay. So now I gotta go back over here and find out what's going on, man. Hopefully it's still in my bloody library. They didn't take it out. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not doing anything wrong. What was it called anyway? It was Landscapes. Oh, that was from last month. It was Landscape 2. Oh, boy, this is... And you want to see what kind of shit we developers are mucking around with this go through. Look at this shit. No organization to this. There's no categories. This is one thing I will scream at Epic up and down the... it was Landscape Pack. I don't know which one it was here. There was two of them here. I think it was this one here. Oh boy. Yeah, there we are. There's the desert. So here's the example of the Desert 01 here, right? You click on this, and you would, right? And then you scroll down over here, and you're looking to see where you want to add it in here. Oh, there's Project 12, so we add it in there, right? And then, okay, you come back to the engine, right? And you're going, that's cool. Where is it? So there's Landscape Pack 2, right? You see this thing called Maps. Go over here. And what I like to do, just to give my PC a little break, instead of trying to add the map right away, just right click on this, and what will happen is a pop-up will happen, and it will say shaders compiling, and it's going to take, it's going to take time. Like when I first did this, up popped 98,000 shaders. 98. And that's just for this pack, and there's a total of 30 maps they gave out, so there was like a couple of 100,000 here that I had to do, and I just went, my poor PC, it's gonna fry. So I didn't really want to do that. So I kind of did a little bit at a time. That's why you didn't see me do too much of this last month. I was kind of aggravated they would do things like that to us. We don't have render farms to deal with this stuff, eh? So anyway, when you load the map in, and just to give you an idea, I'll load one map in here. You would right click on it, it'll do this kind of thing, right? It's a different kind of desert. I don't know how much different it is, I forget. I think it's more flat. But see, the idea is that if I was to create a little animated fan thing, right, or of anything, this gives you lots of freebies to kind of deal with, and then I can just get at making stories and doing the animating, and placing characters and doing pathing and some stuff that I don't have to deal with the actual creation of certain things. So if I'm getting stuff for nothing, then it allows me to create my own entertainment, and I can make some stories, and everybody can enjoy that. Okay, I don't give a shit what anyone says about going and making something from scratch all the time. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Okay, there's an old story. It's called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay. This is why some of this, and I told Epic, I've said, listen, I'm going to take all your stuff you gave me while everyone was all upset about everything, and I'm going to make some neat things for free, right? Okay. Now, regarding this little object here, let's see here. I think it was in this area. Okay, I have an old asset here. I don't even know where I got this one from. It's ancient. As you can see, it's only in OBJ form and DAE form. And what I did, let's see here. So we're going to find Bryce in here. Where's Bryce? Look at all these silly programs. Where did I put you? Program files. do? Oh, that's lightning. It's the wrong one. Oops. Wrong program. Let's try that again. It did not want me to do that properly. Try 7. There we go. Now this program's old. It's like 8, 9 years old, but it's useful. It should, if I find a mesh out there for nothing that I think would be fun or useful to use, I bring it in here. I import it. So what I do is I go like this. I import the object, right? This is going to take a little bit to muck with because moving around in this thing is not easy. Okay. How did I do that before? There we go. I think it was like that. And then I move backwards. Is that it? God. They just don't do shit right in this one. Okay, so the first thing we do is you got this little box over here in Bryce. Okay. See how everything's this big red square? Like if I move this, it moves everything, right? You want to make it so that this here was that one piece, and then you have this by its own piece. So there's this neat little thing called ungroup. Okay? And then what you do is you take and you highlight the rest of it. Oh, wait a minute here. Okay. I gotta make sure I have every piece of it, okay? That's the thing. You gotta bring everything in. Okay. So then you go like this and you highlight the whole thing. Alright? This is just the quickest way I know of doing something like this, where you can take bits and pieces of things and then you can recreate them. Because what I'm going to end up doing here, okay, is I separate these things, okay, then I can bring them right into Blender, and I don't have to piss around with Blender, really. I just use Blender to convert it to an FBX file and then import it into the engine, which we'll get to. Okay. Oh, it's done the floor too. So let me just undo that. I gotta get rid of this floor, right? Okay, wait. Get rid of the floor. There we go. Alright, now I'll do that. You gotta be careful when you do this because you don't want pieces you don't need, right? Okay, now I group that back up. Okay. And while it's highlighted, File, Export Object, take it down here, make sure it's an OBJ file, and like you said, I rename this gate platform, okay? And then you click save, and it'll take a minute to do that, and then you do the same thing for the dial-in device, okay? And that's this program, okay? That's all you got to do, and then once you're done there, you highlight this piece, and then you would go File, Export Object, and you would go down and you would get the object thing here, and I call it dial-in device because that's what it is, right? And that's that. Okay, and then you would exit out of here, don't bother saving, right? Then you open up Blender, okay, get rid of the silly box, then you go File, Import Object. There. Scroll way the heck up. Find your stuff. Let's see here. Where did I put it? Let's see here. I was looking at the books too. You go in here and then you click on this. Now, if you, oh wait, that's the wrong export. Oops. Where did I put it? File new, general. Don't save. Get rid of that. I think I put it in what, render images? Yeah, there it is. So here we have that one. Okay, so you see the difference? There's no thing on the front. And the reason is now I can put the dial-in device anywhere and I don't have to have a dial-in device there. The materials and all this are already baked in here. All you got to do is you go over to File, and then you export again to an FBX, give it a name, right, and save it somewhere. Give it the same name, right down here. Make sure it's in the same name, someplace you need to put it in. Okay, and then when you're done that, do the same thing with that dial-in device. Okay, and then quit there. Alright, go back to your engine, back up to content, and this took me a few tries to get this right. Like I started here where I just imported the whole thing and it made that there. Okay, and I've actually even solved the bounding boxes on this, which I'll show you as well. But anyway, content, back into Stargate 3, and now you have, let's see, this device here, which is right in front of us. So you could just drag it out in there into the things, and you can with this you can scale it bigger or smaller, right? And a little issue I'm going to deal with right now. Anyway, yeah, this one, so that allows you to turn it, right, like sideways. You got the way to make it go around, right? This one goes up and down, forward. This one here, you can move it straight up and down, along the ground that way, along the ground this way, and this one does scaling, okay, where you can you can stretch it, you can make the whole object go bigger or smaller, etc. Okay. Don't really worry too much about all the rest of this stuff in here, right? And then if you want to just see what you've done, okay, one of the things you do is over here on the other side, there's this thing called Player Start. Drag one of these into one of these blank maps, and that's what this is right here, and it'll have a little thing around it, okay, and that's where you will appear if you're in third person mode. Or first person, it will look a little different, but you'll still appear in the same place. You just won't see yourself, right? First person does things different. Jeez, eh? There, that'll solve that shit. A mini fire in an ashtray. Something won't go out. Jeez. Yeah. I hate that when I get doing something and I'm not paying attention. You know, just burning this down. Sure. That's a good tutorial. No. Never smoke while you do things. Anyway, and then what you can do is you press this play button and you go to standalone. Okay, and that will take you to an external process that's in 12 or 720p automatically. All right, and that's how I usually do things. Now, if I'm going to do an actual cinematic, that's a whole nother thing, where then you have to set up some cameras, and you can do things in this little area, and it can do way better quality. It just takes my PC longer. Again, this is part of the, you know I want to upgrade because I don't want to be sitting here for 10 hours of the day doing nothing when I can't do anything else, right? Like that's part of the thing. Was I would be getting my machine to do something, and then I'd go out, do something that I needed to do out there in the world, which you're not allowed to do right now. So it was kind of an okay thing. It wouldn't bother me as much in the past, but if I've got to sit there for 3 hours doing nothing, it's gonna be anyway, not to complain. I mean, life is what it is, and we're all gonna have to find ways to deal with things in the end. Let's see here. Let's see here. I think that, but yeah. Oh, and this little thing here, over here, okay. I fixed the bounding box situation with, uh, I right click on this, okay. What'll happen is when you bring this in, the collision is not set up properly so that you can walk on those stairs or along the edges here. It creates a square around this that starts here and goes straight up over it and then would be as high as this thing, as the gate. Okay, now the reason I just highlighted this, you go like this, you go to edit it, 8 gate platform, okay, and what you do is you scroll down here, okay, where are we at? And you want to find this here, collision complexity, okay. Use complex collision as simple, because this button is not working. It's not doing its job, and it's probably a bug in the engine. Maybe they fixed it in 4.25, I don't know, but it's not doing what it's supposed to, because what it should do is this. See how that does that, right? It's not doing it, but this forces it, okay. And it's a little more high intensity on your PC to be doing stuff like that, right? So if there's a shot where like if I'm doing a cinematic shot where I don't need anybody to be on that gate, okay, I can turn that off and then save, resources, okay? And for a little guy like me using a crap piece of shit machine, okay, that's important. Sorry to use some language there, but that's the truth. You learn little nuances to skip, what would normally be done, right? As long as it looks good enough, right? And if it looks good enough to me, that's usually pretty damn good, because I don't like things looking totally shitty, which is why I love this engine. Okay, it's something I can jump right into, and I do have the C++ background, and I haven't even barely touched C++ in this thing yet. I've done it a little bit with the first-person shooter sample they had there, because the only way you can actually add maps is to go into that code, and then you're going to have to mess with that. So I'm going to have to look at that, and I got a bunch of maps that I've made up for it, and I was mucking around with, and I built one up, and I added it the way that somebody said on the forum, and it didn't work, so I'm going to have to go into the code and see what's going on there. They did some upgrades to it too, apparently. So, whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys. That's just the quick little, boom, right? And I can't even remember where I got this. There is a Blender gate. It's an actual gate, and I'm not sure it had it put into two pieces, one where the gate was off and one where the gate was on, right? I don't know if there's an animation in that. I didn't run the thing. That's another thing, is that this 2.8 version of Blender no longer recognizes my graphics card. Thank you, jerks. So I got to do everything by the CPU. So I'm hammering the hell out of a 10-year-old CPU, and eventually one of these days it's just going to go, and then I'll be not doing anything anymore. That's the fear right here, is that if you saw the way I'm keeping this sucker cooled, you'd be going, oh my lord. But anyway, it's working. Anyway, and as you can see, I'll go back out of there. Where do we go back here? Okay, where is it? Go back to free for the month. So, I wonder why they took that out. That's weird. They took one thing out. What was it they took out? Did the car thing? Yeah. There's something here that ain't here anymore. I don't know why it's not there. Maybe it's permanently free. No. There's some more vehicles too. I don't know, it's weird. there was 5 things here yesterday, and I can't remember what they all were. Let me see something here. Anyway, so back up in here, and just so you can see, one of the things that you can do with things, like, see if I bring in one of these characters right now, it's going to go into shader mode, and then I'm 100% CPU, and then I can't record, you see. So you can go into these generic NPC packs, right, and you can use their animations on things that are set to the Unreal Mannequin, right? And there's a new robot that they have that you can do that kind of stuff with, right? So there's lots of neat things that you can do with this stuff. Like, I just added a whole ton of stuff in here because I'm going to just have a bunch of different worlds and do different things and just have all kinds of neat stuff going on here. And I'll just, I'll link it up. And I got another pack that I put in here that has like it's like a teleport system. So once I figure this out, how to undo that. Oh geez, where is it? This animated thing over here where I put that inside of a circle and then set up a light system inside it, so it's got that little light there, right? Like this little light. Then uh, then I'll use that teleport, and an event would be when you walk up to it, it would teleport you to the next map, right? And then you could probably hear that gate sound, and then you would have, you know, maybe do a cutscene. Maybe you have a little animation of a cutscene so that it does that once, and you could just have a little movie show that, and then you come into the world, right? And it walks you in there, and then you're standing right at the front there, and you walk down, and you're in some new world. You're in another zone now. You see, and this is how that starts. Somebody starts doing this, and then suddenly they're doing a little animated whatever, right? Anyway. Okay, guys, I thought I'd throw this up there just so you could see how it's all put together so far, right? Someone said you should show this, so okay, this is what I can show when I'm doing it, right? And I'll see how good this came out, because this is the thing, is that I can't do it in real time. I have to get the compiling done, and then I can go back and show you to a degree certain things, right? Yay. Anyway. Okay, guys.